What's up, YouTube? It's Hayes, your coach of the New Orleans Wyverns, and we're here bringing you the draft analysis for the NCP. I believe this is season 6. I'm super hyped to have been invited. Yeah, the NCP is probably one of the best around. I appreciate it from all the commissioners. We got Owen, D-Ray, Liv, John Jr., Kurt, etc. Cool group of people. And let's get into our draft. So we were, I believe, pick 2 out of 16. I think it's 16. Some things to note. I think there were a couple. I think it was just Sheer Force, Lando I, and Zamazenta Crowned that were allowed. We were second pick. My man Sally grabbed Lando I. So we, after getting cucked in pick order, after getting mid or late round picks, we get the fucking boy Dragopole. Y'all know about Dragopole. Y'all know. One of the fastest mons in the format, I believe, only behind Selgor and Zera. Ninjas doesn't fucking count. So 90% of the time, you're going to be able to run boosting or you can just invest your EVs just anywhere else you please. Attack, you can go mixed. You can even have like sufficient investment in the mixed stat, HP, defenses, etc. This thing has a very nice move pool. Only thing it doesn't really have is physical ghost stab, which isn't great, but it's manageable. It gets U-turn, so it's a fast pivot. It gets just good coverage. It gets fire blast like flamethrower, thunderbolt, surf. And then it has Shadow Ball, Draco, and then it has its signature move, Dragon Darts. Just a physical dragon move that hits twice. Very nice for like breaking substitutes, or yeah, that's about it. I love Dragopole. Fantastic offensive typing. Great choice user. Great, like it gets like sub wisp, sub disable. Gets Dragon Dance. Just so it can set up and just sweep games. Outspeed Scarfers as well. I love Dragopole. I used it very briefly, and I think it was BBL Team Tour. I loved using it. It was in Ubers, but I loved using it. I really love high value dragon types. I feel like they're just very good. And I feel like you want to have a dragon. But if it's not one of the top ones, you kind of miss out. And Ghost is probably, if not the best, at least top 3 types this generation. I love Ghost types here. So next, to pair with Dragopole, we got Tojic. Tojic is pretty cool. Flying type's very nice, but also a fairy type. Gives me removal, gives me just air slash, gets good coverage. Gives me flinch, the flinch hack gives me that 60% chance to flinch with air slash all the time. Very annoying. Yeah, it's a cleric support also, wish, and I believe it gets some kind of status like removal, like I think heal bell, I don't know. But yeah, it's a generally pretty fairly bulky mon. I think it has like it's like 115-ish SPDEF, something like that. And yeah, not too much to say about Tojic. I just think it's a pretty nice, like average, like glue mon, I guess. And I think it looks really nice with Pult. Next we got Neato King. I don't really know what to say about Neato King. It's just a really strong special breaker. I think it breaks really well for Dragopole. obliterates those fairies with sheer force, life orb boosted sludge waves. Gives me a nice ground type. Gives me rocks, gives me T-spikes, both of which are very nice, especially for Polt, chipping down things to get in range of it, and just poisoning those like bulky mons that want to like come in on Polt, wearing them down over time is very nice. Aside from that, it's just a good grounded poison so that I mean, my team doesn't really get too affected by toxic spikes at this point because I have a whole ass flying Tojic. But yeah, just a really strong special breaker. Gets literally just gets the coverage it needs to just be a good mon, and hits shit incredibly hard with poison plus ground. Next we got another special breaker, but also a really solid fighting type in Keldeo. Really nice speed tier at 108. To kind of bridge the gap between King and Dragopole a little bit. It gets flip turn this gen, which is really nice for choiced sets, but also just pivoting around, like predicting something like a bulky water to come in and getting out into literally anything else. We'll have a little more about that later. But yeah, gives me, I like having an offensive water. It's not my favorite because I think I like more bulky waters, but I love Kelio. I think just spamming like specs boosted hydro pump, specs boosted fighting moves, secret sword, etc. It's just a solid special breaker, and it is a special mon that is not walled by Blissey. Because fuck that Pokemon. Yeah, that's Kelio. Next we have Registeel. So Registeel is basically just here. He's a steel type. He gives me that dragon fairy steel core that we love to have. The only issue I have with him is he's a bit passive. But I think that's okay in the long run. He's just really fucking fat and just a huge annoyance. Rest talk sets are nice. He gets S-Toss, Seismic Toss. I don't really know what to say about this. I think it pairs really well with Tojic and Dragopole. Again, that Dragon Fairy Steel Core looks super nice here. Oh boy. Next we got a mon that I literally never thought I would draft. So I think basically someone just said, get a physical breaker. You want to have special breakers and a physical breaker with Polt, so it can just kind of be free to do whatever. It doesn't need to be forced into a physical or be forced into a special. I was originally going, so I think at this point I needed a physical breaker, but I also needed a nice dark type. So we got Gdog. Gdog does just that. It's a really fucking strong physical mon. Gets fantastic coverage, gets fast U-turn. Scarf or band is all it needs. Either hits like an absolute truck, 2.25 I believe, boost to all moves if it is banded, and the band and scarf combo with scarfed arm, very strong. Gives me an ice type. Ice type, what's the ice type here? The ice type just breaks those bulky grasses that kind of want to sit on like Keldeo, for example, but we have Neato King for that. Beats grounds, which is very nice for me. Also Kelio. But yeah, it's just decent, pretty good physical breaker. Really strong, and a pretty good pivot. And the reason we did this is I think we're looking at regular Darmanitan. And instead of that, we did this, but we also got Incineroar. This was something that was on my radar from the very beginning. Yeah. I really love how it pairs with Dragopole and Tojic. Yeah. I love having a good, not necessarily bulky, but like probably I probably prefer more bulky than not bulky fire types especially, and also dark types. And like I was saying earlier, Ghost is one of the best types this format, offensively at least. And having a really solid dark type is always nice, especially with Pult. I really like it paired with Pult. Other than that, it just gives me strong fire and dark moves, knock off, flare blitz, etc. It also gets access to parting shot and U-turn, both of which are pretty nice slow pivoting moves. And something I could do is just just use parting shot to kind of set up my threats. Basically, this is usually going to be slower than what it wants to pivot out on, which is always nice. We love slow momentum. And yeah, that's what he doing. That's what Big Incin is here for. Next, we needed a ground resist, like a lot. Oh yeah, this is also a nice ice resist because if you looked at my team before that, or that was it ice? I don't think it was ice. But with Registeel and Incineroar, we're chilling. Anyway, we needed a ground resist and we needed some more removal. We wanted Serena, but instead we got Big Delmas. So, um, I like Delmas. It's another ghost on top of Dragopole. But I don't see huge issue with ghost types between like Registeel or Incineroar. I believe that checks most ghost types, but whatever. This thing is super. This thing is fucking brutal. Like this thing's super strong. It gets really strong. Like stabs. Power Whip Poltergeist is disgusting, and it also gets a third stab with steel moves. I like this thing. It gives me a nice spinner. Gets I know it gets reliable recovery and synthesis. Yeah, that's Delmas. I I like having a like fairly reliable ground resist as opposed to what I tended or what I tend to do in drafts and just get budget grass types that aren't very reliable. Then I get cucked. But yeah, I like Delmas. He looks good here. So you remember how I said that we drafted like that we have good ground answers or ground breakers? Breakers that ground types? I drafted something else I never thought of draft. Fucking Regieleki's here. I don't know why he's here. I think we basically just said like I don't know. Alecki just looks cool here. Like, I don't know why, but I really like Alecki here. We grabbed one of the better Alecki answers in just Neato King. There's a queen there, but it's whatever. We just shatter most ground types. And I think with that, we can hopefully make Regieleki work pretty well this season. Yeah, it also gives me more removal on top of that, which is always nice. And I think this thing was sitting at like 5 points, which we looked at it and we just saw like that's just crazy. That's just crazy. I think it's just gonna be doing its thing this season. And it also forces a lot of prep, which we love. We love forcing teams to bring their ground types, especially when I have Kelio, I have Gdarm, Delmas, also all of those break ground types. Yeah. Hoping we can make this work, but Regieleki's kind of shit, but it's okay. And lastly, we wanted a pretty good normal type, especially on a Pult draft. So we grabbed type null. This thing is fairly bulky with Eviolite, gets access to U-turn, so more slow momentum. It gets a pretty good move pool. Not as good as Silvally, obviously. But I think it gets like sufficient just stuff. It can run like Swords Dance, which is really funny. And it has I think it has just base 95 attack and special attack, which is respectable, especially on a mon like this, which is just meant to be a bulky kind of pivot. I wish it got. We do kind of have to rely on rest talk or wish support from Tojic to kind of keep this healthy, and especially when we need this to kind of check certain Pokemon that we can't really beat otherwise. But yeah, type null, pretty solid normal type. Yeah. So that's gonna do it for our draft analysis for season 6 of the NCP. I believe our battle will be up next week, so stay tuned for that. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.